What's up, Axie fam? Parupiro here. Season 18 has finally ended, so there are lots of talks about the incoming nerfs and balances. Let's discuss on what I think should be nerfed coming into the next season. Let's begin. So the most asked for nerf without a doubt is Terminators. Full disclosure, I don't think Termies are all that powerful anymore. Most of the people in the top ranks know how to play against them and can beat them quite easily. But I do understand that in the middle MMRs, Termies are still wreaking havoc. And as with most other games, devs also need to consider changes for the general users. So we might see a nerf on the Termi. So first off is lagging. Lagging has high damage for a strong utility that it provides. I believe that lagging should be reduced to 30 damage as a conservative nerf. But if they want to bury the build like they did with the discard bug earlier, they can further lower the damage of lagging down to 20 damage. Next up is chomp. Chomp needs to be nerfed not just because of the Termi build. Chomp is actually used in a lot of popular builds such as the Disablosaur, which I'm using. And then we also have the Biffinator, which is used by Elijah. And then even one of the newer popular builds, the Backdoor Poison, uses Chomp. So Chomp is a pretty strong card and has high damage for its utility. So I see them taking off 10 points off the stats of Chomp. So my guess would be reducing the damage to 70, making it 70-50. But they could also change it either way with 70-40 or 70-45. But I likely see this at 70 damage. Next up is Grass Snake, which was terrorizing the leaderboards in Season 18. The main reason why the backdoor Grass Snake comp was OP is that there is little counterplay aside from having a Bidance in your team. So also 2 poison stacks for a 0 cost is too strong and even provides decent stats with 10 damage and 20 shield. But I believe that nerfing Grass Snake to 1 poison stack would just revert it to its old state where no one was actually using it. So I think that the likely nerf that I see the devs making is just reducing its stats. So making it to a 10-0 or 0-10 while still applying 2 stacks of poison is what I see them likely doing. Similarly, people have also been calling for nerfs on Garish Worm. I actually don't see Garish Worm getting nerfed because yes, the build is strong, the Shrimpinator is strong, but it's not actually so overpowered that you have to specifically build around the Shrimpinator. If they think that the Barb Strike is actually too strong, at the most maybe they could make it a 90 damage 50 shield, but I don't actually see them nerfing Garish Worm. I think it's an okay card as it is. So for now, I discussed what I think the devs will nerf to the Barb Strike and the Garish Worm and the Grass Snake, but I kind of want different changes to what I think will happen. So I'll discuss what will happen, which is I actually want the poison stacks to go back to 3 damage per stack. Now previously, I wasn't around when it was doing 3 damage per stack, but I think the poison meta back then was also OP, that's why they nerfed it. But I want it to go back to 3 damage per stack and then just maybe nerf Yam instead. So I think they can make both Grass Snake and Garish Worm go down to apply 1 stack each. Remember that I want the poison stacks to go to 3 damage per stack. And then they should still nerf the the Grass Snake to 10-10 at least because it deals less poison damage now at 1 stack and 3 damage per stack. And then they need to change Yam such that it only applies stacks to melee attackers. This is so that if you have range options, you can still somehow counteract the Yam. This makes it such that the Yam is not too OP when you're applying 3 poison damage per stack. I think this change would go well, but I'm not too sure because I wasn't around when the poisons were dealing 3 damage per stack. But I think this can work, and I hope the devs do consider something like this approach. But I'm pretty sure that they're not gonna take this approach and just nerf the stats instead. So next is the second most popular build in the Season 18 meta, the triple bunny, triple antenna builds. This is one I think I faced Vinapot using quite a lot, and I had a really low win rate against it. I just had about 10% win rate against his whole team. Well, that was mainly because my team was bad against the bunnies. Anyway, for the longest time, antenna wasn't played in the top levels because people just tend to know how to play against antennas, which is just to attack and avoid the steals. And then if you know that they've used their antennas, then you can save. But that is not actually possible when you have a triple bunny threat as well, because most of the time the bunnies will apply fear to you and just making you waste cards. So sometimes you need to have to pass, or you are put in a situation where attacking is bad and then passing is also bad, which is why this is a very smart build, and I think that people should have discovered this quite sooner. I'm not sure why not, or maybe it was hard to build it because the genes weren't proper. Okay, so for this build anyways, I think the only thing that might be nerfed is Cute Bunny, because at 120 damage I think it's quite high and it also has a good utility. I don't think they're gonna nerf the utility, just the damage. So at the most I see them nerfing it to 110 damage and then keep everything the same. So 110-30 is how I see this bunny nerf. So the next nerf is actually not really asked a lot by the players, but I think that if we are going to nerf lagging, then we should nerf incisor as well. So currently incisor is 100 damage and 40 shield and applies a minus speed debuff. The only other horn card with good stats as this is Scaly Spear, which is 100 damage and 50 shield. So the problem with that is Scaly Spear has a subpar effect, which is deal bonus damage when chained with another lunge card. So the only other lunge card is Feather Spear, or Feather Lunge was it? So at that point you almost have no reason to choose Scaly Spear over Incisor, because the 10 shield difference is not that much when you compare it to the additional bonus of speed minus. So I think that we need to nerf Incisor as well, or you actually buff Scaly Spear. But I actually think nerfing Incisor would make much more sense, so I'm thinking they should make it 90-40. So next up is DoubleTalk. DoubleTalk is unique in the sense that it is the only card with a sleep effect. The only card we can compare DoubleTalk with is chomp, because stuns also allow us to go through shields. Though sleep is more offensive than stun, with the DoubleTalk damage going through as well as the next attack. So initially I thought that this card is strong but not really overpowered. I have played against it many times in arena, and the gameplay is to just avoid getting into DoubleTalk range by playing shields earlier than you usually would. But then I realized that the DoubleTalk post-fight combo can deal 400 true damage to a reptile, or 466 damage to an aqua with just 2 energy. And I think that's way too strong even with 4 cards, and there is no outplay against that. So I changed my mind and thought that the DoubleTalk might need some nerf. I think we can give the same minus 10 damage with chomp, so at 70-0, and see how it goes from there. And even if we lower DoubleTalk to 60 damage, a pure aqua would still die to a full DoubleTalk post-fight combo. So I think we can keep it at 70 damage and see how it goes from there first, just to give reptiles and plants a small leeway before they go to DoubleTalk range. Lastly, for the nerfs is aqua nerfs. A lot of people have been calling for aqua nerfs. I'm actually one of them who want to nerf aquas, but the thing with nerfing aquas is this is actually quite tricky, because while I do believe that aquas are quite strong right now, there is really no one card you can pinpoint to nerf on aquas, because aquas are well rounded. Most of their cards deal 110 damage, a few 120, and then some 100. But the power of aquas is actually being able to put together some beast and bug cards to them and actually still destroy reptiles with their higher speed. So I doubt that we'll see any nerfs to the aqua stats. And then if we are going to nerf aquas, I'll give some suggestions, but I'm not actually sure if this is the right way to nerf aquas. So for now, the one I'm seeing is the risky fish, because risky fish is strong in the current meta where there are lots of reptiles, dusk, and plants. And then risky fish applies attack plus when you are attacking reptiles, plants, and dusk. So the aquas are actually able to deal out more damage on the reptiles, which they should be weak against. So one nerf I see to this is just nerfing the risky fish damage by 10. So lower it to 130, so you reduce some of their damage potential with it. It's a minor nerf, and I think it would help to mitigate some of their power. So another thing would be koi, because koi is the staple aqua card. They need this to actually outplay the birds in the 1v1. So why I actually see koi as nerf is because there are no other aqua tails that are being used aside from Nemo and koi. So Nemo is okay because it's a zero cost that gives energy. They could also nerf that, but I don't think it's OP that really needs a nerf. So why koi is more OP is because there are other damage tails, but only koi is the one being used. So I think we can afford to actually bump down the numbers. So maybe we can reduce the shield of koi to 20, making it similar to goldfish, both 110 and 20. So I think that would be a decent nerf. If there ever was a nerf to aquas, I think that would be quite okay. That will be all for this video. So do you agree with all the nerfs that I've said? Do you have some other cards that you want to be nerfed? Mention this in the comments below, and maybe I'll answer some of them, and maybe I'll do another video on them sometime. So next video will be about what I think needs to be buffed or changed for the current meta. And then I'm also preparing some highlights of my season 18 play. See you next time, guys.